Hey guys, this is Justin at the Survivor Review, and if I would go back in time and tell my younger self that I would be excited for Fast and the Furious 7 and then end up really liking it and being emotionally invested by the end, I wouldn't believe myself for a second. Man, Furious 7 is such an entertaining action popcorn movie that delivers on everything you expect and has a good emotional core to it because, Paul Walker and all that stuff. And it's just an entertaining, fun movie. Now, Furious 7 is not my favorite of the series. I still prefer Fast 5. That one has a tighter story, and it has better action, more practical action and less over-the-top stunts. And that's why I like that one better. But Furious 7 is probably my second favorite of the series out of all the ones I've seen. And to start out with the plot of this movie, because that's why everybody sees these movies. You have Jason Statham as the bad guy, and he's getting revenge on Dominic Toretto and his crew because his brother was the villain in the last movie. So he's getting revenge on them, and while that's going on, Dominic Toretto and his crew, they have to find this hacker and get this device she has called the God's Eye, which is a surveillance technology that basically lets you find whoever you're looking for in like a few minutes. And they're going to use that to go after Jason Statham's character and stop him before he tries to kill them. Now, for a plot like that sounds pretty simple. A lot happens in this movie to the point where it's a little bit too much at times. My biggest problem with this movie is the first act that is very convoluted, and there's just so much going on with, because there's a lot of characters in the movie, so I understand that, but it just didn't feel well balanced, and they're just jumping from different places so much. And you have scenes where Michelle Rodriguez's character, who's still trying to get her memory back from all the stuff in the last movie, she leaves Vin Diesel and then comes back a few scenes later. And I was like, well, what's the point of that scene earlier then? And then Tyrese Gibson and Ludacris's character, they don't appear till about a half hour in, and it just felt a little disjointed in the beginning of the movie. I just wasn't really invested as much. But once everything just gets set in motion, and it's like, okay, you're going to go get the God's Eye so you can stop Jason Statham before he comes after you, then the movie gets a lot easier to follow and just flows a lot better. Because this movie, although it's 2 hours and 20 minutes, is really fast-paced. Again, almost too much because they do jump from different locations. They jump from locations more times than a James Bond movie. Seriously, it's crazy. And that's, so the first act being jumbled is my major issue. Also, some of the stunts are a little too over the top, and I mean over the top because they're CGI heavy, and I get so uninvested in action scenes when it's CGI heavy. That's why I love the bank vault scene in Fast 5, because yeah, it's ridiculous and unrealistic, but it's pretty much all practical effects. And that's what I love about that, and when it gets too CGI heavy, I just lose it. I just lose investment. There's this one scene, it's at the end of the movie, where there's this parking complex where it's a few stories just parking, and it just crumbles down, and that happens during the fight scene between Vin Diesel and Jason Statham, so the ground's crumbling under them, and it looked bad, and I was like, oh. And the last act of this movie is just pure action. It's just this extended action scene that goes on forever, and I was really into it, but by the time I got to the end, I was kind of like, yeah, you're going on for a little too long. You can end now. You can end. It's okay. You've already done enough action for the first half of this movie that you can just calm it down. But aside from those issues, this movie's just a ton of fun. The action scenes, like I said, aside from a few CGI heavy moments that just don't work, are really fun. The car chase where they parachute out of the plane with the cars and chase that kind of truck van thing, that action scene is awesome. It's probably the best action scene in the movie. It's very good. It's awesome. Now for Paul Walker in the movie, there are some scenes where his face is CGI, and I pretty much noticed it every time. But it didn't take me out of the movie. It didn't really ruin it for me. Because I understand that's the limitations they have. That's the technology they have. And they did the best they could with it. And I feel like on rewatch, I'm going to care even less about it. Because there's that kind of curiosity when you're seeing the movie for the first time. Of how much did Paul Walker finish before he died? So you're paying attention to is that CGI Paul Walker? Is that CGI Paul Walker? But now that you know everything, I feel like on the second viewing I'm going to care even less about that. But aside from that, the way they send off his character at the end is perfect. It is so well done. and it doesn't feel forced. It feels natural with the story and with his character. And they even build up towards it throughout the movie, so they don't just kind of like thrown at the end like, oh, this is how we set up his character. No, there's a build up to it, so it feels natural and it works, and even kind of ties into stuff that was introduced in the last movie, and I really like that. And it was just, oh, that just made me so happy. And yeah, the ending is really sad. It is. They do it perfectly. The final shot of the movie is beautiful. It's great, and it just works so well. And it was sad. It was really sad, that ending. One other thing about the movie that I just love, Kurt Russell in this movie. I was expecting his character to be really small. I was expecting him to be like Bruce Willis in the Expendables movies. Just the guy who gives him the mission, and then that's about it. But no, he does stuff in the movie, and he has an interesting character that I want to see them explore more in later movies, which I heard that's what they're planning on doing, and I'm like, yeah, perfect. He was awesome. Why isn't Kurt Russell in more movies now? He should be in every movie. He's just awesome. And I love seeing him in the movie. There's even one cool scene where there's like this shootout going on in this warehouse, and he just puts on sunglasses and starts shooting him. It's like, yeah. So that was so great seeing him in this movie. This movie is just a ton of fun. If you like the previous movies, you'll like this one. It's similar. It actually feels a bit different because Furious 6 felt like Fast 5, just with a tweak in plot and a bit more ridiculous stunts. But this movie feels different. It's a grander movie. It's huge in scope compared to the last movies, and it just has a bit different feel to it. The director of this movie, James Wan, who replaced Justin Lin from the previous movies, he has a different style. He's a bit more grittier. The other movies have this really nice, sleek look to it, and this has moments like that, but it has a bit more grit to it. And granted, the hand-to-hand fight scenes don't work that well. They're shaky cam a bit and quick cutting, and they don't work that well. But the rest of the action scenes all look great and are awesome. I even like Tyrese Gibson's character in the movie. I actually found him funny, which I honestly never found him funny in the previous two movies. All of his jokes just fell flat for me. He actually had really funny moments in this movie, and I was surprised at how much I actually laughed at his jokes and stuff like that. Out of 10, I'm going to give this movie a solid 8 out of 10. Because this is just pure fun. This movie continues the winning streak of the series that is surprisingly still going strong at number 7. And it's just a ton of fun. Again, it's not my favorite of the series. I still prefer Fast 5. I felt that one's a bit tighter on the story. Action scenes are more practical, which is just, I like that a lot better. But this is still a huge, entertaining popcorn film that you go in for the action and for the corny one-liners and the big action stars just having a ball, like Jason Statham and The Rock and Vin Diesel and Paul Walker, all just having a blast in this fun action movie. It's a fitting send-off to Paul Walker again. Can't say how perfect that ending was. It was great. And just worth checking out again. And that's about it for now. And until next time, I'll talk to you guys later.